Hey, it's Tony Ann.
I'm Akira.
And I'm Sammy, and you're listening to the Pocket Podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Pocket Podcast. I'm your host, Tony Ann, and we have
Akira.
Sammy.
And we are back with another episode. Today, I do have two big topics that I want to touch on. And the first one is questions about dating. So I did write a few things down. And before we even get into it, please, guys, like, comment, and share this video. It does help us out a lot. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay. So, first question, as it pertains to dating, is what are our first date questions? What are some questions that you ask on the first date that you think everyone should ask?
Do you want kids?
On the first date?
Yeah. It's better to know now than to get dates in and you really feeling each other. Next thing you know, it's like, I don't want kids. And it's like, oh, I just wasted like 8 dates. Next.
Yeah, I mean, it is a pretty important topic to bring up.
Maybe the second per se.
Maybe. I guess it depends.
What do you like to do on your free time? I like people who like to go out and explore and will not sit and stare at the same 4 walls every day.
That's a big one.
I think mine would be, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Anyone?
I don't know about that.
Okay, so 5 years is too big.
Yeah, it's too intangible. Like, just too hard to imagine.
I mean, I can always dream.
Yeah, you can always dream. What are your dreams? That's always good.
Yes. So I think the consensus that we came up with was that maybe asking 5 years is a little too much. Just 1 year goal for a guy on a first date would be nice to ask. I forgot. Samantha, is there something that you wanted to say about that one?
What, for the 1 year?
Just know, like, what is your first date question?
I want to know if they're actively pursuing, like, trying to better themselves. I'm not sure what kind of question that would turn into, but just knowing that they're trying to improve and not just stay the same person that they are. Like,
And I think that is something good to know.
Yeah.
It's very important because you don't want someone who's too comfortable where they're at, especially if it's not such a good place. You always want someone who's trying to better their situation and themselves.
Yeah, even if you are in a great place, it's always good. Like, you're always evolving, and it's always good to want to be better. There's always things that can make you a better person.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, you're saying you don't know what that question would look like. I think maybe, like, who could you ask?
I don't know. I guess I just kind of like go with someone's vibe. I don't know if I really have asked specific questions, more just a combination of different things, like how they respond to different other things is what I can glean. Like, I can tell that they like to take care of themselves, or, you know.
People always kind of get stuck on first dates, especially if the conversation isn't flowing well. Like, some people can talk about anything, but I think there are a few things, first date questions you could ask. So where, like, what are you working on? Are you in school? What are your intentions? That's a big one. Yeah, are you looking to date for real, seriously, or casually? Let me know.
And that's a big one. You want to know what's going on. I think those are the obvious ones. I think you should always have the serious ones on a first date, but it's also good to have the fun ones, like the dreams and your ambitions and like things that you're not capable of now, but you want to do at some point. Maybe like bucket list, like what's on your bucket list, you know? And just things like that to see their potential, to see their fun side. Yeah.
Let's see. Should a man pay on the first date?
controversial.
Absolutely.
It's a controversial topic. Akira says yes.
I mean, okay, well, it depends. Like, who asked who out?
Let's say it's a first date and you guys are meeting for the first time. I believe on a first date that the man should pay because that kind of shows me interest. Like if you did have a good time and you are interested in seeing me again, then you paying for the date would show me that.
I like that. I think it's a good perspective on it. I am of the opinion that you go splitsies just because you don't know how it's going to go. You don't know if there's going to be a second date. I don't know. I feel weird, you know.
So I see like you're thinking if things don't go the way you planned, but
I would feel if they didn't go well and he did pay on the first date, I would feel like I owe him something.
I kind of use it as like if I know I'm not interested in seeing this person again, then I will insist that we split. But by default, if I do want to see this person again, I will let him pay.
I think for me, it comes down to I assume we split. But if he offers, I will gladly take it.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. It is always such a controversial topic because I think now we are in a different generation where everyone is, not everyone, but finances for men and women are stable and like you don't really need to court the woman with money. Like you don't have to pay for everything, right? So it's changing times. We're going splitsies. We are being individualists and we can pay for our own things. But I think I'm still traditional in the sense that it really does show if you want to see that person again. And I've known this from experience. I wouldn't just say this like randomly, but like I've been on a date where the person doesn't have any intention of seeing me again. So they'll be like, okay, so take out your card.
Mm-hmm.
Time to...
Actually, you've got a point. I think if they offer, then they're really interested. So...
Right. But then again, that doesn't always mean that the person isn't interested in seeing you again, but you can kind of gauge someone's interest from that. Like this kind of like if they're still on the fence about you, you can tell they're still on the fence. Mm-hmm. If they say, okay, we're going Dutch. I think men have said that it is a good thing when a woman asks or offers to pay her share because it kind of takes the load off of them and kind of shows the type of person you are. How to handle rejection when dating?
I never really see it as like a personal attack. It just doesn't, you weren't meant to be with that person. So I don't know. I don't really have a problem when things don't go well.
But I think it does kind of hurt your ego a little bit because it's kind of like you put forth the effort to look good, you do your makeup and everything. Mm-hmm. But if a guy is not physically attracted to you, there's nothing you can do about it, and it's kind of hard to be like, oh, well, he just thinks I'm ugly or he's not attracted to me.
Yeah, it can be hard because you put on your best face and what you feel like is your most attractive, attributes when you're talking about yourself. You're putting yourself on display, and if someone, isn't interested, it can almost feel like, well, am I just not interested? Am I not like worthy of that? But in the end, it's not you. It's just that person and their own history and their own likes and dislikes. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It's just their opinion.
I'm very glad that you said that, Samantha, because I think there may be some girls out there or some guys that struggle with rejection. And as I always say, just because you're not someone's cup of tea doesn't mean you're not a cup of tea.
Yes, exactly.
So just know that you'll find somebody who finds you super attractive, super gorgeous. It's all perspective, and everyone has their own preferences. You have your own preferences. You might even, reject somebody as well. And, just think about it when you reject somebody else. Like, put yourself in their shoes. It's the same thing. It's nothing. It's normal. It happens. Move on.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay.
No reason to sit with self-doubt.
Exactly. You don't have to doubt yourself just because of somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do that.
Yeah, you have a good inner sense of self-worth. You need to make that strong before you go on the dating game. If it's not strong, you might have some hits, to your ego and to your self-esteem otherwise.
So work on your self-esteem, guys, before you do it, because dating is no joke. Rejection happens a lot. You're going to be dating a
You're
lot.
probably misses than wins, Yeah, that's just the name of the game.
I believe modern dating is failing because I think that a lot of people are selfish nowadays, and we have more of a sense of self, and we believe that we should have the best. So we always think the grass is greener on the other side. So seeing the rise of online dating and seeing a bunch of people being able to meet whoever, whenever, at the touch of your fingertips, it's become easier to meet people and easier to leave people as well, because you're just gonna think about, oh, I think I can find somebody else better here, Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's a wonderful point. Yeah, I think that it's very easy. I think we all deserve to try and find the best partner for us, try and find a good person. But just because you have so many options, I think you should really take your time and not just immediately say no to that person because you weren't instantly attracted. Like, attraction has the capability to grow over time, and that person is a human being and they have their own special things that make them wonderful. And so I think it's worth it to take the time to really consider that person. Don't just immediately swipe away. Like, give them a proper moment. Yeah.
But I do see that, like, people are not willing to wait, or people will have a lot of, I always say that you probably shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. Like, you may really like this person and you may only want to be seeing this person through your dating, but while you're in the talking phase, there's nothing that says you can't go talk to other people, right? Unless this person is exclusive to you and has agreed to that, I would recommend that women and men still see their options and date other people while you're seeing somebody. And the only reason I say that is because things probably won't work out. And a lot of people have this mentality where if they don't like you, there's nothing to work on. You're just going to keep looking. And that's just the way of life. This is the way of the game. People are not really tied down to anybody anymore. It used to be that a woman had to find a man, and usually once you find one person, you can't just settle down with them and she'd be set, have their kids, move on. That's it. That was life. But now everything's different. We all have the chance to choose what we want.
Interesting that you were talking about seeing other people at the same time. I think I always assume, like, you're very welcome to go and see other people, but me personally, I wouldn't, because I want to give each person that I see a fair chance before I move on. So I'm going to give them my energy, and then when I decide it hasn't worked out, then I'll move on. Now, that's just how I like to do it. But as I said, I'm assuming that, like, they understand this is still open. We're not exclusive. So you're allowed to see other people. I just personally don't.
Okay. Yeah. And it's always, you have to be clear about everything and just be like, oh, I mean, you don't have to tell anybody that you're seeing other people. I don't think you need to. No.
No, not unless you become a thing.
No. Okay. Yeah, ladies, don't put all your eggs in one basket. It's perfectly fine if you want to still see your options. But let's say you are in a situation where this guy thinks that everything is going well, but then another guy that you find while you were talking to this guy takes the cake. He's like everything you want. How do you go about explaining to the other person that you were dating this situation?
That's not gonna work out.
Yeah.
That's so awkward. Well, I mean, I don't know. There's so many different ways you can go about it. You could just be clear. Just tell them straight up, like, hey, I don't think this is gonna work out. Yeah.
Okay, but here's the thing where I say when we say, oh, this is not gonna work out. That sentence does not say anything. That sentence doesn't tell you what was the issue. The sentence just says it's not gonna work out. So are you obligated to say, well, when you said this, I knew that this blah blah blah. Like, no, to just leave it to I don't think it's gonna work out, because people want closure. People want to know what it is exactly for feedback, because we're not getting feedback when we're dating. No one is giving us feedback.
I think for me personally, I don't like, I'm not gonna assume, like in my mind, I'm not gonna be like, oh, it was this thing. Like I'm just gonna, say, oh, well, the vibe was off. But if I want to know, I'll ask them. I'll be like, is there something specific that set you off? Like triggered you? Said no? Like what was it? But if they just say like a blanket statement, like it just won't work out, I'll be like, okay, I understand. I get it. Like, I'm not going to fixate on one thing. Because if they do point out one thing, I feel like I'm going to internalize it and start focusing on that. And it might, like, change part of my personality that I don't want to change. Maybe it's just something, like, maybe they don't like that I laugh at a certain thing. But that's just who I am. I'm not going to change who I am because they don't like it, But
I do think that there should be some feedback. Because I feel like, yes, to your point, that if someone tells you what it is, like, you don't want to change that part of you just because they said that. But what if there's a part of you that's toxic and you wouldn't know unless you got feedback from someone?
Perhaps. But I think that's also another thing, is building your own self-awareness, expanding on that and really like looking at what you do on a day-to-day, how you speak and your actions, and reflecting on that and not needing someone else to tell you, like taking accountability for yourself and figuring it out on your own. I think that's important.
How does one build self-awareness though? Like, is it through interactions with people? Is it through therapy? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, it could be many things. I personally went through my like self-awareness journey. No one told me anything. I wasn't told like, oh, these are the things that were wrong. I just decided to figure it out. I read a lot of books and did some meditating and just like sat with my thoughts and really went through all my past actions and realized, oh, these were not okay.
Hey guys, it's Tony Ann, ending this video here. So stay tuned for the next episode on the Pocket Podcast. But for now, enjoy this blooper reel, and I'll catch you guys on the next post. See ya.
Yes.
Yes. The mommy.
Yeah.
The mommy.
Say Tony in.
The mommy.
Yeah, but who's it?
Oh, it's mommy.
But do we think modern dating is failing?
Daily.
Samantha, do we think modern dating falling? Do we think modern dating is failing? Do we think modern dating is failing? Yes or no, and explain why.
All right, quiz time. Let's go. What does everyone have to say?
Okay. I'll start it off. I think that modern dating it's the ling in failing.
It's now stuck in your ear forever. It just will not leave.
Failing. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I agree. What was that? Did you hear that voice crack? It's like, I agree.